In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to do some lighting practices in your thumbnails. So let's begin. You can paint in your own light colors and shadows by hand. I actually like to use a quicker way for this process. I normally use adjustment layers, mainly the two overlay and multiply. So let me show you how to do this. So in your whole entire thumbnail folder right here, you put a new layer on top, and we're just gonna clip this new layer. We're gonna call it light, let's say, and clip it on top of the entire thumbnail folder. And on this drop down menu, right now it says normal. These are all adjustment layers, and they can change the effect of the color you apply onto the thumbnail. Overlay is a great tool that you can use to just lighten anything and bring that glow. Let me show you an example with this light green color. If I just paint over the top, you can see that this color is already affecting anything that I paint on top. It's making everything lighter, brighter, glowier. And the outcome depends on whatever color you put on. Let's say if I put on a darker orange, it's going to look completely different than that light teal I did. So this will be the layer that I'm going to use to add light. And with shadows, make a new layer again. On the drop-down menu, you can find multiply. And what it does, it darkens everything. I'm going to rename it shadow. As you can see, it starts darkening colors, and depending on whatever color you pick, it's going to affect how dark it's going to look. So the overlay adds light and can be mainly used to bring out highlights and bright lighting hitting on surface. And then again, multiply layer is one that creates a dark wash over your colors, and it's mainly to use for shadows and introduce some darks in the paintings. You can use these layers liberally, but I don't recommend overdoing it. Sometimes overdoing it makes the piece seem really digital, so you might even lose those subtle color details that you have on your thumbnail. When you're doing this process, try to keep things as natural as possible. Keep checking your references and lighting fundamentals if you're struggling to figure out how far you want to take it. For my thumbnail, I feel like I still have room to add more shadow. I'm just going to use my overlay layer and maybe pick a cooler color and see how it comes out. I think this building on the side here needs a bit more shadow. Again, I can do a hue and saturation to adjust the color I want it to look. I think I'm just going to add a shadow under here. I'm just going to use this opportunity to add shadow to anything that is pretty flat. Just so I have an exact idea of how it's going to really look. But again, keeping it very simple. As you can see, the shadow is really helping bring everything together. You start seeing how objects are interacting and how the light and shadow are affecting different parts of the building or on the floor as well, on the ground. The gradient tool is also your best friend. I can shift more of the focus towards this third of the painting. I like it now. I may not like it later. It really depends. You're still playing around with everything. I think the shadows look great. Now it's time to add a bit of light into it. Again, I'm just testing out different colors that are going to affect the lighting of this thumbnail. Feel free to pick any color you like that fits really well. I'm using the overlayer to add back that kind of sunlight effect to this painting. I feel like everything still feels really flat and just basic color. I want it to feel like, yes, this is in the desert, like kind of a desert road trip. The sun is very bright, very hot. You can see I'm changing colors constantly, just because different colors will do different things on the layer, so you might just have to play around. Mustn't forget about the foreground. There are some grasses. Just going to add a little bit of light to show that they still are here. Don't forget that your gradient tool is your best friend again. Here I'm just trying to maybe lighten up the road to show that the sun is very hot and it's reflecting onto the ground too. Again, like the color thumbnails, do as many as you like. I always love having options because I sometimes can't make up my mind, so it takes a few tries for me to figure out what I'm feeling. Even though I don't have different options, you can see throughout my process that I'm constantly figuring out what colors works best. And sometimes if it takes a few tries, that is all good. You can think of this lesson as bringing a gigantic light into the thumbnail. This will be the overall picture for you to see what your final painting is going to look like. Again, take your time and feel free to try different lighting versions too. You can reference Unit 2, Lesson 1 again when thinking about lighting scenarios and color temperatures, as well as always refer back to your references. Now that you've added lighting to your thumbnails, it's time to pick one of your favorites. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to block out some colors in the final design of your painting.